Hey everyone, this is Tracy with Color Me This. Welcome to my channel and welcome back if you are returning. This is day 2 of the big daily color. I try to do 2 days a week in the big book, Romantic Country. The first day of this week, I did the line art and only did like a middle chunk of the bricks and then went off a little bit to the left side. I have since completed, I'm going to skim up as far as I can go. I'm going to hit the light here shortly. And let's see if we can go up further for you. So that is what we're looking like. I will have a full page view for you to enjoy tomorrow. Today I have mocked up the iron or dark gray metal elements. So we've got the watering can, the fork, spade, and the pitchfork. So I have grays designated for those elements, and then I have sitting here browns, and I'm just going to plug away and see how far we can get. So the first thing I need to do, I see that the way I have set myself up, I'm a little bit far away. So I really need to see if I can move you my way, like so. And then that should be good. I always end up coloring in this bottom right corner along the spine, which again, I have this curve happening and it makes me very challenged to get the focus right here along the spine. And then I also have the metal elements. I have all 3 of these that I want to work on. So I am going to push aside, I have 7 browns altogether in 2 chunks. And then I have some light taupey grays and then medium to dark gray. I have, if we're going to work on the gray iron-like elements, it's 2.6 and 2.7, a medium gray and a lighter gray. I believe this right here, 73, maybe the black. So that is sitting off to the side and I might use it. I think the coloring, I will not be able to rotate this book, sadly, to be able to get some good angles if I need a texture. So if I wanted this watering can to have sort of a shiny appearance, I need to make sure I match my strokes, the angle here of this circular shape, to give the watering can a circular appearance. And then I'm going to make it metallic by having these lines, and as I get closer to the edges they will get darker. I have a spout, I have a handle, and then I also have the reservoir here that it should be really dark, and the spout hole will also be dark. I am going to be coloring these like fairly quickly, not wanting to get too over exuberant with the details yet. Again, our pencil that was chosen for this page was the Brutfuner. These Brutfuner are on My Colorful Country Life's conversion chart. Should you have a different set of pencils, there are a dozen sets now that make up that conversion chart. It is very complete and thorough. You can print it out pre-filled in and get a pretty decent, depending on your printer of course, a decent approximation of the color to try to do your own color matching with whatever set that you have. And I am working on, I do have a Prismacolor conversion chart is actually, I would call it the Starjoy Gold to Prismacolor conversion. And I'm almost finished with the other half of that, which is matching up the Starjoys to all 150 as best we can, to all 150 Prismacolors, going the other direction. So I will say this week I have been bogged down with family planning things. And of all the crazy things, my parents are relocating to Florida from Washington State. And they arrived Thursday afternoon. Their intent is to buy a property here. They have insisted they want to live on my street. It is a great street. I can see why anybody would want to live here. It is a great street. And there are a number of homes for sale, which they were a little delayed in getting their home prepared to sell. And then it took a little bit longer to sell because the market, with the interest rates, the market's a little slow, but it did get sold. So they have arrived here right before what we call the high season, or the snowbird season, when the snowbirds come down and stay. This is an RV community, but it has homes. And it's not normal for this particular street to have multiple homes listed at the same time. You kind of, if you want to live here, you have to buy in as soon as something comes available, that even if it's either too big or it's too small, you kind of have to take what you can get if you really want to be on this street. And so right before they came, I don't know, like a week before they left, maybe 2 weeks tops, somebody listed their house for sale. We had already seen the inside of the house ahead of time, but it was just specific to whether or not my parents were interested in it. And they, I just said they're a little behind on getting their house listed, so they're not going to be able to commit to anything until they, sell it and then get their stuff cleared out. Because they've lived their whole lives and had accumulated, a lot of stuff that had to get to find new homes, let's say. So by the time they actually made it here, they had the unusual choice of 3 different houses. And on the first day, they walked to the first house that actually technically isn't even for sale, and introduced themselves. So we got to go through that house yesterday. The day before that, they went through a different house that I gave my mom the number. I said, this one's been listed for a while. Give them a call. It also meets your needs. The third house that we had already seen quite early on, back in May, June, wasn't, compared to the other 2, it would work, but it would have needed money spent, because they need an enclosed RV garage, and it did not. It has a port, and that's what ours has, is a port. So today they got to go back through, and like, I just think of House Hunters. The whole House Hunters, where you get 3 houses. One is too big, one is too small, and one is too expensive. It'll be not a single one is a clear winner. And that's the way this was. Now, there were 2 that were definitely ahead of a third one, so it was easy to drop that off the list. But then, the debate about the pluses and the minuses, and they were different enough that the choice was not going to be easy. And they made their choice, and so I got to run around this afternoon and negotiate the final price, get a contract going. the owner actually is buying in, they already bought and closed on a bigger home here at the front of the park. And they had promised themselves that they weren't going to do it, but the house ended up being what they wanted. And they had lived in this one for 5 years. It is very similar to mine, only better, way better than mine. We don't need the better, you know, it's got higher end finishes. It has some more square footage designated for, like it has a dedicated office with fancy barn doors that close it off, and it's actually part of, like an extra part, 4 feet deeper than the master bedroom. And we would not, it's not that we would say no to the house, because it's a very nice house. And, you know, we could suffer with really nice, modern, soft close doors on the cabinets, and the nicest granite I think I've ever seen, with lacing wonderful color tones, earthy color tones going through it. We just have boring old Corian that is very serviceable and looks very nice and crisp. So I think they are getting a beautiful home. My husband, of all the weird things, is not gray, is his least favorite color. And this house is a lot of gray. Lots of gray. So, and it has brown wood floors, which my husband doesn't like, but my mom absolutely loves. So it's definitely very stylized, and I knew that she would love it. Love it, love it, love it. So we have another hurricane coming. I feel so bad. I hope that this doesn't hit anybody hard. It's been we had Hurricane Debbie. Okay, so I think I've just been talking while I've been playing with these 3 metal elements, and I'm thinking of the pitted, pockmarked, old, kind of a flat gray pail, watering pail. I hope that's what you guys see as well. I did lots of lines, and then I went over the lines with some swirls, and the swirls give it kind of a bumpy texture, which is what I'm envisioning with this old-fashioned kind of a flat aluminum textured can. And then this is a funky fork. It's not the shape of the 3-prong forks that we use that are longer and deeper. So I'm not sure I did the gray, the best of gray metal looking coloring on that. And then this spade is okay. I'm trying not to overthink or overwork it. Remember, my whole purpose for coloring here is to relax and enjoy it and not overthink things. And then this is my second full-size page. It's a 10 by 10 book, and I am trying not to be intimidated by it. So here I am with the darker gray. I only had done the lighter gray, and I think that looks good. So all 3 metal pieces are done. The next interesting bit of metal, I want these 3 jars. They could be glass, but there's nothing in them. So instead I'm going to make them look steel-like also, and then I'll have wood tops. So I'm going to go for a bit of that same horizontal lines texture to give it maybe what is it called? Brushed metal. There we go. That is the term I am after. I already have the signage is this color, 64, which is a aged parchment, kind of an aged look that I'm after. I think I'm going to be able to move this up a bit. I was trying to have you see not lose sight of these 3 metal elements. So let's see if that works a little better. This is the lightest color again. They will be in the description. I really enjoy actually coloring a large size book and a small size book. It's a nice variety. It slows down the rate of completion, but I'm trying not to get locked up and all bogged down into the need to be in a hurry. All right, so they look pretty flat to me. And I am going to work on having them look more rounded. And I like the warmth of the paper, the aged paper versus the cool gray of the steel brushed metal look. And to get my curve, I'm just going to go in here and do some darker shadowing along the curve of the canister. So anyhow, yeah, we're having a weather event next week. Not sure if it's going to be a tropical storm. It was always going to be that we were going to have a week of rain, and it was showing quite a bit of rain. Now it is I use a variety of YouTube weather stations that are a little more descriptive, almost to the point of being weather geeky. And they're calling for a low grade hurricane, like a 1 or a 2. 80 to 100 mile an hour winds, and the positioning of it, is pretty rough. We've got all these different prediction tools in the different countries, and so far none of the paths predicted as possible go directly over us, but they go above us and below us, and all of them go diagonal across Florida, across the peninsula, from the west coast to the east coast. So my parents will not even have been here a week when it hits. They will have been here 6 days when it hits. And they're like, how long does a hurricane last? I said it will cross over our specific area in a matter of hours and then be gone. And I'm not sure if it's huge like Helene. Helene was just a giant storm, and I'm not sure if this is going to get that big. It was supposed to be a series of small storms, but now evidently, I think they've even already predicted a name. I can't remember. It's a boy name. It alternates, and so I think it's a boy name. A male name, sorry, not a boy. A masculine name. Yeah, so I'm keeping the middle looking lighter color. These Brutfuners are ultra pleasant to work with. A favorite of mine. I would have said in the past the big flaw with these is I want more colors. But then I went and bought the Brutfuner 520, and they are even more fantastic because they have all the colors. And I like to mix colors. I don't know what it is with feeling like I need to have more colors, when I know I can just mix and mix and mix to get like the final color that I want. So there's my two tones working together, the beigey tone for the lettering and the sign, and then the two grays. So now I want to pick two random browns. I've got dark chocolate browns, russet red browns, and two sort of tan-ish browns, one more tan and one a little more cinnamon colored. And I'm going to see about these lids. So I think for me, the biggest challenge that I have for myself doing this big is to not get like all wrapped up in the size of it, and it's so big and I need to be detailed. I am not making myself feel like I have to do super detailed. That's one thing I like about this particular book over other like full-size books. And I do like the whimsicalness of the art, so that I am not tempted to try realism, because I'm trying to stay away from that. Realism makes me very tense. I get very, what is it? Not judgmental, but I feel like I need to create the art to a standard of realism that then puts me in a competitive state, which is funny because it's just competitive with myself. So this just gives me, it's a perfect imagery to just be somewhat cartoony, do a little bit of mixing, add some shadows in, and call it good and have fun. So there's my 3 jars. This particular color of wood, I like this area looking cohesive. So that means I want to take this handle and that handle, and I want to make them wood, and I want to have them have the same tones. So I have my 2 colors. I don't even think I told you the color numbers, which again, the color numbers will always be in the description of the video they're in. 93 and 20. I can feel my voice is a little bit gone from all of the chatting over the last couple of days. I even had one of my coloring group people, I was watching the dog. Oh, I have a dog story too. I was watching the dog. His name is Bubba. He is a very large, pretty heavy set now because he's 8. He's a Doberman Retriever mix, but every single person who meets him thinks he's a Rottweiler, which is really funny because he's not. So we can't leave him alone in the trailer. He's an outdoor active dog and has not adjusted to his new life. And we have a trailer that they're staying in that we actually want to sell. We almost did sell it before they were coming. So thank goodness we didn't, because now they have a place to stay and shop, and it made it so much easier to be able to look for a place to buy. And we brought him to Walmart, and that dog stayed. Now, my mom is here because she's having some health issues, and it's just going to be much better for her in a community like this with her activities. She doesn't need to be trying to manage a 5-acre farm and mow a field with a tractor and do that kind of thing. I would even say she's got a bad back, and I wouldn't even want her really bending over, doing a garden, which she absolutely loves. So she really needed a place like this that gives her so many other fun activities to do. So the dog, went with us to the grocery store, and he stayed by her side, and she was, I took him a couple times, like if she had to go get some food. Here's my lighter wood. I'm very happy with that next to the terracotta. The difference in the wood tones are great. This is all about wood and wicker. I haven't really decided what color these bins are. I would love another pop of color up here. And so they might have to be a color. We've got a wicker basket. I think down here we're going to work on some of the wood elements down here with these other wood tones that I have. And so he never barked. He never really even sniffed anybody. He did sniff, like she put some hamburger in the basket, the cart, and he was very intrigued. But when you told him no and just told him, you know, take your mind off the food, because he's very food driven, he just said, okay, I'll just stand. And he stood. He didn't really try to sit on the tile floor. He just stood and was just a great supportive dog for her. Okay, 4 colors of browns: 20, 93, 22, and 24. They all are, aside from this little bit of an orange cinnamon color, cinnamon-ish, they're all kind of the same intensity of hue. So off to the side, I do have 3 more dark browns. I might show you them because they look identical. The barrels are almost the same. 23, 17, 117, and 114. They're going to sit right here. I will show you my cheat sheet I'm using. This cheat sheet actually stays folded up in my case. Speaking of cases, I got another round of Temu cases. They were very reasonable, and I even got to pick one that's a special color pattern that I really like, and it is going to house the Holbeins I'm working on. I have them temporarily in my zip case. That's my quote-unquote work case, that when I zipped off all of these wood, I had that case, and the spine, it's so old, the spine is a little bit flimsy. So when I zipped off with the Dremel these edges and wrote numbers on, there are still some little sawdust bits in that old case. So I would prefer to keep it as a work case. The 3 dark colors, as I said, were, or are, that I get to choose from. The middle one is 117. Look how dark that is. That is not dark. So I have to be really careful. 23 is very dark. And these 2 colors look very close, but I notice when I use them on a page, they do not look that close. So 23 and 114 are my 2 very darks. And then 117, as I said, does not look as anywhere near as dark as the barrel. And they're going to sit right here so that I can pick them up and use them for shadowing of the, we've got a broom, a rake. Oh, and I could do the top of the rake, which I have the 2 grays right here still. There they are, 26 and 27. I'm going to, again, move this over toward the middle for what I'm going to work on. It just works so much easier that way. I don't have to reach across myself either. The camera has an easier time focusing, and then my hand doesn't have to reach so far, because I'd like my knuckle to not be in the way. It's always getting in the way. And there we have it, just a nice simple metal fork. I think that this is the head of it right here. I do have what I think is black. I should probably verify. 73. Get a little shadow right here. All right, let's work on the chair. I'm going to move up. I will confess, if you see a tint of yellow, that is because when I grabbed this color right here, I accidentally started coloring on the original. I've done it twice now that I've colored on the original. Caught myself and went, oh, stop. I'm supposed to be coloring with people watching. I wasn't filming. Okay, so we have a tint of yellow because it already had it, and I erased what I had. I still see some faint yellow, like honey wheat lines. I do have the two back, so this is number 20. This is the start of the kind of orangey color, and I am doing the two. These are the back wood legs, and I will come back over them with dark for the shadow. Have a seat. I am toying with this hat being a bright color. We will see. All right, I have used both of the light colors, 93 and 20. I'm setting them aside. Now I'm going in with some darker colors, 24 and 22. Off to the side here I have the colors. 22 is very orange, and 24 is very brown. So I have to remember that, because 24 being very brown actually is the redder color than 22, and this is the joy of these Brutfuners, the barrels. They're a budget pencil. They are definitely, the barrels reflect the budgetness of them. My big 520 set, I don't know how they came up with 520 distinct colors. And some of those barrels look, when they sit right next to each other and you compare them, they look very close to the same. This is giving me some wood grain, and I'm even lining up. I'm going to move over here a little bit more. That way I can see it a little better. This is the shadowy color. I'm even doing a knot there. This particular pencil is pretty darn sharp. Here's more wood grain coming in. Let's do a knot like right here. See, I enjoy the realism. And that it does not have to be perfect. Now, I have this seat, and it even has some little appearance of an angle here, like we're sitting on a little, the wood has a texture, maybe not a texture, a little seat for your butt to sit in. And I'm going to go crosswise. We don't have any texture hints here. I just have to make up my own. This one kind of mimicking the top of the chair as well as the chair leg brace. Okay, and then up here we've got that. So yesterday we spent, I don't know, an hour and a half at the place that we ended up not going with. It was still very good to spend that kind of time in it to help make a good informed decision. And so there's some line work. So I took a very rare nap in the afternoon. I colored first though, to make sure that that was done, because I have the tendency, if I take a nap, I'm groggy the rest of the night. I never quite recover. Okay, so I have to work over here now. I am rotating my tip. I want it to stay super sharp. Have to find a nice placement for a knot. There's one. All right, that is coming along very well. Again, just hairline, little lines, trying to get some natural wood grain going. All right, now, what have I got here? I have this reddish 22. I think I'm going to go back to 20 because I envisioned this being a little more yellow, a light wood. I am trying to make sure that I have, since there's so much wood on this page, that we have the dark brown wood, rust colored orangey wood, light tan honey colored wood, with the hint of the grain on this chair showing. I do plan also to repeat this color, only lighter. You see that I'm losing some of the grain with this yellow. That is how quickly and easily the Brutfuners blend. So I will have to come through with maybe 114 or even 23, yeah, or 23 to get the texture back in. I'm going to put, if I move things, I have this honey wheat color that might make a good broom wheat coloring. Okay. Back to the chair. It is very difficult for me to not be able to do my rotating of the book. Again, things just like the spine, just learning to deal with not being able to have things exactly the way you would want them and still be able to color the elements that you need to color. Alright, now I have done this part. I'm going to have to come in with the dark. I had already said 117 or number 20. Sorry, 23. I have to have my cheat sheet next to me. These barrels just are not very good at telling me what color they really are. All right, I have to come in with some darker. This one is 24, and it is a middle brown. I think I might have done my wood grain lines with it. And see how far we're doing. I'm getting into the details of this, I can tell, so I'm gonna have to finish it off. I do plan in the weekly review, I will have done a little bit more work on the chair. $23 was the color I said. This should be quite dark. Yes. All right. Okay, I think this is already getting darker than I had wanted. Want the backs to be shadowed. All right, not bad. I have number 93, and it is very light tan again to give it that honey look. We're warming it up. See, this is the part of coloring that I could take hours and hours and hours on this one chair. I could just keep working it. All right. So what did we finish today? We did these 3 elements, the 3 canisters. We did the bottom of the broom, the top of the rake, and we're working on the wood of the chair. I am just going through warming the chair up because I wanted it to be warm. My darkest color tones will be the 3 shelves because I want the background with the brick to be very soft taupe. So that's going to do it for me. Thank you so much for joining me today. Tomorrow will be the review. We will be back to the daily color on Monday. I'm gonna say an open-ended if things get really hectic at the beginning here of this home purchase process that I did not anticipate happening for, oh golly, I didn't even think it would happen this month. I figured they would be house shopping for some time. But nope, they were quick. They already, they have been looking at these homes remotely for many months, 8 months. So it was just great that they had 3 to choose from. They didn't even have to wait for something to come up that would meet their needs. Alrighty. Do all the YouTube things, like, share, comment, and consider subscribing. And I will see you all tomorrow at the weekly review.